What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Super Sanctum podcast. Today, we're doing a solo episode. Jeremiah has not been able to make any days I've been trying to record. He's got a new job and everything. Life is just life in form right now. I got a solo episode today. We got a few things to talk about here. First of all, social medias again, TikTok, Apple Music, Spotify. We are on them. Check them out if you are not watching or listening on YouTube. And TikTok, that's just for all the, fun clips and stuff and reactions we do for TV shows and things like that and movies. And funny clips and tidbits. But we have that. We also, as on TikTok, we did have a first TikTok hit 30K. It's our highest TikTok. It's at like 33 point something right now, but it's climbing and it's doing good. Hooray for our TikTok. YouTube, we are doing well. Thank you to everyone who's been subscribing. A lot of people watched the last video we put out, episode 6, I believe, on Gene Hackman and some other things we talked about. But we are now at 1.2K subscribers as of today, as of this recording, April 16th, 2025. And this is a solo episode, we're not going to play any of the games we usually play on this show, but I got stuff that we're just going to talk about overall. So let's get into it. All right. As a start for today's episode, we have the Doomsday cast reveal that happened. I would not watching that long live stream of the chair reveals. I was at work. But I'm also kind of glad I didn't sit through the 5 hours or whatever of chairs. Kind of glad I just got to see it all at the end, and that was cool. But, let's go through the cast. I'm really excited for this movie because I think this is going to be great. So, of course, we've got Robert Downey Jr., Pedro Pascal, Chris Hemsworth, Vanessa Kirby, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Ebon Moss, Simu Lee, Florence Pugh, Lewis Pullman, Winston Duke, Tom Hiddleston, Patrick Stewart, Rebecca Romijn. I'm gonna wholly mess up some names. Joseph Quinn, James Marsden, Paul Rudd, Hannah John Kamen, Channing Tatum, David Farber, Alan Cumming, Wyatt Russell, Ian McKellen, Kelsey Grammer, Danny Ramirez, Leetta Wright, and no more. I'm not gonna get that name right. But yeah. So we got all of these guys, we've got everyone from our Victor Von Doom to Thor to M'Baku to Mystique to Charles Xavier to Loki to Agent Soldier Agent, to Shuri to the new Falcon, Iron Man, Ant-Man, we got a big list here for the cast. And then after that, a day or two after was April Fool's Day. I don't know if you guys caught this or saw this. IGN did their own little like, hey guys, here's our little uh thing for it. And they did their own chair reveal thing. And I was like, oh, so cool at first. And then I was like, April Fool's Day. I forgot, but we caught on. I remember they had like Marvel Rivals characters like Jeff the Shark and stuff in there, and I thought that was pretty funny. But moving on from that was also CinemaCon. Let's talk about some of the the two things I saw. I wasn't there, but the two things I was like hyped up, or the three things there's a couple things I was hyped up from CinemaCon that they showed. All right, multiple things. I'm not gonna number them. We're just gonna go through them. Spider-Man, New Day, um, Tom's fourth movie. I did not write down the day it releases, but it's coming out. We know it's coming out. I'm quite excited for it because this could be the first time we get with a Venom, maybe, perhaps, or something. Who knows? We'll see. But I'm excited. Tom's fourth Spider-Man movie. We're probably gonna get a fifth and a sixth with that. But I did hear that his Spider-Man movie, A New Day or just New Day, is coexisting at the same time as Avengers Doomsday. So that is why we didn't see anything for Tom Holland in a chair reveal or anything later. So that's why we're not going to see him then. But, maybe at the end of his movie, he jumps into it somehow, maybe. Who knows? But it would make somewhat sense if he's there, considering, not Johnny Depp, but Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man played such a huge role for Tom Holland Spider-Man as like the father figure, the Uncle Ben figure, that he should would be in the movie with someone that looks like Tony but is not. But that's just me. And then Beyond the Spider-Verse pushed back again to 2027. So honestly, I'm completely okay with. I'm completely fine with because that just means that they're spending more time to make a movie we already know is going to be big, great, and just amazing. And they're going to make it even better. So why not? I'm totally here for it. I think everyone else should be here for it. So let's be here for it. Put down in the comments how you feel about, uh, you know, anything we've talked about already, the Doomsday cast reveal, and Spider-Man, the new movie, New Day, with Beyond the Spider-Verse going out later in 2027. But I'm here for it. Pushback is pushback, but it means for a greater movie. Hmm. And real quick, I would like to take a moment of silence. We did lose another another hero in the superhero universe. We lost Val Kilmer, who was battling throat cancer and lost his battle. So if we could take a moment of silence for him, please. Thank you. All right. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer. You will be missed. You were, I would say, probably my fifth favorite Batman out of the lot that we've gotten since the 40s, 50s. So, thank you. But moving on, we had something else big in the DC universe happen. We got a new Superman trailer. Whoa. And I was really digging the Superman trailer. Like, really digging the Superman trailer. Okay. Because, I like that they were showing with him calling crypto and making that like that was the scene. Him calling crypto and then crypto actually taking him back to the fortress. And I seen the fortress. One, crypto, how playful he was seeing Kal-El Clark, seeing Superman there. Just being like, oh yeah, he's like, my dad's here, my boy's here, time to play again. And then, he's already beaten up so bad that he's just laying there, can't get up. And now he's got a super dog beating him up even more. So, like, you know, is what it is, but I loved it because the playfulness of crypto and it really shows the bond and the relationship that they had together between, super dog and superhuman or super alien man. But awesome. Then the Fortress of Solitude. The Fortress looked so good. Fortress of Solitude. Amazing. I think it looked peak. Just saying. I think it was pretty peak what the Fortress of Solitude was looking like. Um, after the fortress, we had, or just after seeing like the main a lot of the fortress and it growing out of the ground, I would say awesome, pretty awesome, if you ask me. But we saw the door with just the logo, the crest on there. Amazing. Okay, amazing, just amazing. But yeah, and then we got to see the robots that um live and work and are built inside the fortress, and that just helps Superman with, some of the small other things that he can't do on his own, type of thing, while he's out saving the world. And then, they're also basically his doctors. There was the whole thing of he was so beat up that they magnified the sun to make it so that, they would just super restore his body back to, tip top shape. But with that, I saw so much controversy behind it on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. So much controversy behind it, and I was like, "Why?" It does it ma not it doesn't make sense. It makes complete sense why he was in pain during that. Because even like the Flash, Barry Allen, he's got his own super speed healing ability. And if you somehow speed that up, it's gonna hurt a little bit. You're doing something already out of the limitations of your body, and they're already super. So their body limitations are already stretched crazy more than, an average person. And so, Superman still feels pain. If he's under a red sun, he's gonna feel pain. And he got beat up so much by someone that, he's hurting. And he's, bleeding. He's got cuts and bruises on him. So they super blast him with a like 10 billion magnified sun, basically. And everyone's mad that it's like, oh, it hurt him. He's feeling the pain. He should be feeling the pain though, because you're super enhancing and super speeding up his already like enhanced healing ability. And if you're gonna do that, I would assume that, that would hurt like a motherfucker. Because why the fuck not? Right? If you don't agree with me, put it down in the comments. We could talk about it. Hit me up on TikTok. We talk about it a little more too. Okay? But it makes sense to me. But besides that, Superman, the Superman trailer, the new one we got, movie of the year. I'm giving it right now on the pod. Documentation VAR movie of the year. Superman. Fantastic Four is close second. I also okay, so that's pretty much the end of the Superman rant. Okay. I also got fucked up by some AI shit. Okay, I posted on TikTok. Um it was a like trailer. There was some parts where I was like when I was looking at it and I was like, "Oh, it's not like it's a real trailer." I was like, "Oh, there are some parts of it." I was like, "The CGI looks really weird at this part," and I was like, "Oh, it's not CGI, it's AI." So I was like, "Ooh, okay." I still posted it anyway, so I was like, "Whatever, why not?" Did pretty good though. Got like a couple K likes or not likes but views. So and there's that. We up. But okay, moving on from those things, um, we did have also with CinemaCon and all of that, we had Epic Universe, which did open. Uh, I mean, I guess Epic Universe wasn't even at CinemaCon. I don't think they showed any of that at CinemaCon. I'm confusing myself because it's been a little while. It's been like a week since CinemaCon, or like 2 weeks since CinemaCon and the opening of Epic Universe. So It's on me. But you know, um, Epic Universe, my favorite things that I saw, one, Harry fucking Potter. Holy shit, the Ministry of Magic building? Just the like, it's a little, it's kind of cheesy, the whole like oh my God, I'm blanking on the word of like what it's called, but when they go through the fire, it'll come to me later. But when they do that, and then it's like you just turn around, go through the little tunnel, and then it's like you're in the Ministry of Magic. That part a little cheesy, but at the same time, awesome. So that I loved. I don't know anything. The only thing I know about the ride itself for the ministry, like inside the Ministry of Magic, was that it was like Dolores Umbridge's trial, which I think is awesome because it's like we really don't know or see anything that happens with her after her movie, in the Half Blood Prince. So it's like, let's get do it. Let's get to it. Let's get to. Oh my God, it's not the Half Blood Prince. Give me a sec. Yeah, I was fucking wrong. I was so fucking wrong. Order of the Phoenix. My bad. Did not mean that. My bad. Order of the Phoenix at Blood Prince. Shut up. Okay. But Harry Potter World, I think they also had Diagon Alley there too, which was pretty sick. Being able to go to Ollivanders and getting your wand and things. Had my wand around here. I used to have, of course, if you know me, I of course got the almighty wand, you know. I got Dumbledore's wand because when I wanted, if I'm going, because I went to Universal and did all that when I was like 10 years ago. That was awesome. Got to experience that. Went to Ollivanders, got my wand. But then a couple years ago, they were doing at Walmart like a mystery wand thing, and so me and my friends we did that, and bada bing, bada boom, had a wand. It's around my room somewhere. Don't know right at the moment, but I did pick up because it was mystery, so the wand that I got out of it was what's it? What's her name? Bellatrix Lestrange. I got her wand. I'm just blanking on a lot of my nerd knowledge right now. Sorry. It is 7:25 in the afternoon. Um, been working all day, 7 to 5:30. But yeah. So, Harry Potter World, or yeah, Harry Potter World. I would assume that's what they're calling it. Awesome. Next that I loved, um, and I'm not going in like order of like one, two, three. These are my favorite things I saw. But things I liked very much, Super Mario World. I've seen a lot of it in the one they've got in Japan. Cool, and it's basically just the same thing brought here, which awesome. Love that. Can't wait to do that with Harry Potter World. Some. And 'cause they have the cool track where it's like that I've been seeing everywhere on TikTok where the Donkey Kong ride where it looks like it goes off the track and that's super cool. Neato. But I think besides Harry Potter, I think like if I had to rank these, it would be Harry Potter, The Isle of Earth, How to Train Your Dragon. Okay. One thing I've been seeing, Toothless looks so amazing. And the animatronics for his babies too. Oh my God, it looks so good. And then the cast members they picked out for everyone is so good. So good. The twins, Rough Nut and Tough Nut, look awesome. And they're so great. I love seeing the interactions of people with them on TikTok. It is amazing. Toothless also looks amazing. I would love to go pet Toothless. Why not? I might even tear up going to do it because that's just me. I'm just that guy. Okay. Hiccup, though. The kid, the guy, whoever they got to be Hiccup, 10 out of 10. Because the kid I've been seeing, there was one guy I saw playing Hiccup. He was like, kind of had the voice down, but the dude looked like he was 45, 50 years old. I was like, whoa, my guy. You're a little too old to be playing, the younger version of Hiccup. Because it is kind of weird because older version of Hiccup when Toothless got all of his babies and stuff, right? He's got the beard. He got the nice beard, he got the lineup and everything, he got the beard. But in the Isle of Berk, it's young Hiccup to more relate to the young kids without beards, you know? So they have him, but then it's basically Toothless from the end of the movies. So, it's a little weird. But I think it's pretty grand so far because I see thirst traps of Hiccup. Like the guy who's cast member to play Hiccup at Epic Universe, I'm seeing thirst traps of this kid. I'm sitting here like, okay, I get it, but let's fact check and make sure, the dude's at least of age before making thirst traps and I'm picking it up on my For You page. Just because, I fuck with How to Train Your Dragon and all that doesn't mean I want to see all these thirst traps and shit. But okay, Epic Universe, that is pretty much it for Epic Universe talk. Now, let's get in to the bad boys I've been waiting for. It is April 16th as of this recording, which means Daredevil Born Again has finally ended season 1 after 8 long weeks. I just want to talk about the entirety of the season as fast and quickly as I can with, we're going to be a little bit over the place. But starting off with the very beginning, because I'm the only one that's watched it. Jeremiah hasn't watched it. Rogan hasn't watched it. I'm the only one that has, so we're going to talk about it. Foggy dying. Crazy. We knew someone was going to die. I low-key kind of thought it was going to be Karen. I was low-key hoping it was going to be Karen. So I'm not going to lie. Even in the first show, never really liked her. Just saying. That's just me. You know, put in the comments down below whether you did or not. That's you. And then, the just Foggy diet the entirety of the fight with Matt and Bullseye on top of the roof. Matt throwing him off the building after he hears the heartbeat of Foggy and finally, stops hearing his heartbeat and knowing that he's truly dead. He died there on the sidewalk outside the bar. That's just that he's dead. Throwing Bullseye off the building. That's just the he's like fuck it. Just crazy. And then, Kingpin in the beginning coming back after getting shot in the head after Echo. Terrible show. Not even gonna talk about that. But yeah, he comes in, he's like, I'm a new man, I'm not Kingpin. And then, but that's my favorite thing about this show. One of my favorite things is that it's called Daredevil Born Again. But Born Again is not just implying to Daredevil, no. It's also implying to Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin himself, the new mayor of New York City, or Hell's Kitchen, whatever. Mayor of the city, New York. But yeah, Kingpin. But then, moves into the White Tiger and the White Tiger trial. White Tiger saved that guy from getting beat up. You know, Cop got killed, hit by the train, whatever. That was also pretty insane. Yeah, the White Tiger trial. And then within that trial, it was like Matt was not gonna use the whole wasn't gonna tell anyone about him being White Tiger. And then, even told the judge like we can't use that, it's not good enough in court. And then he pulls it out of his ass and is like, no, we're using it. He's the White Tiger. Here's the mask he wears, blah blah blah. He's White Tiger. He's going out and saving these people. But I think what really like in the in the courtroom in all those scenes, which I liked. I know when Jeremiah watched part of Daredevil, and he was not messing with it because it was too much lawyer, which is also a lawyer show. Come on now, get into it. Yeah, but even with like with their whole courtroom scenes of the trial, like my favorite part was when like Matt got the police to talk about White Tiger, and like he was even getting recognition from the cops even after like they were trying to pin him down as a cop killer. And I mean, he won the case and everything, could never be White Tiger again. And then what did he do? For White he went out White Tigered for like 5 seconds and then to the side of the head. Like crazy. Like just bing bada boom. Um White Tiger dying. And then we got our boy Frank motherfucking Castle with the ungodly return. I'm not gonna lie, Frank when he's got the nice luscious hair going back with the beard, you know, might clap some cheeks for that. Just saying. Just kidding, Drake man here. We joke around. Um, but yeah, we got Frank back, and then in the scene where Matt goes to see Frank, for his reasonings, my favorite part was Matt crying over Foggy because it was like Frank knows that he's holding back some shit. He's holding back his little inner demons with Foggy, and Frank rakes that out of him, and it's like, yo, man, say his name, stop being a bitch, and it breaks him. Starts crying. Loved it. And I'm not super into detail with everything because we're also going off my memory of watching the show one time. Didn't repeat the episodes except for like one of them. Yeah, and that was like the first episode. But let's see what we got here. Matt going to see Frank. Yeah, all that. We also talked about Matt having the Riz God skills. Like, Matt, bro, you're rizzing everyone up left and right over here, dog. Save some pussy for the rest of us, my guy. Like, Jesus. Like, him and Heather, he was like, oh my God, there's one line, I can't think of it off the top of my head, of course, but there was one line that he said to her where I remember sitting in this chair watching the show and just being like, bro, where was that? I was like, where did that come from, bro? Rizzler over here going crazy for the putang, you know what I mean? But yeah, you know, Mad Riz for Matt Murdock. And then, show moves into Daredevil versus Muse. Muse being this weirdo dude who kills girls and people, takes their blood and siphons it out and uses it as, like, to make his cool, pretty art. My favorite thing was with all that was just the fight scenes with him. The first fight scene where Matt finally like finds him and starts beating him up, saves that one girl, even though he escapes. But still, like when he had his baton thing, when he had the wire wrapped around his head, and he was just like holding him down, and he was being like hung, and he was being hung from the ladder. Crazy. I was like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna end him here, and he didn't do it surprisingly. And then we have the second scene when Muse, don't remember his name. Finally, we see him, and then it's like the only time we get to see him without the mask, really. And it's, him in therapy with Heather being like, yeah, you're my therapist, baby girl. Shit like that. And then fucking he starts going on Muse on her, and he's like, yeah, I'm Muse. I be doing all this crazy shit, girl. You like it? And she's not about it. So, she, tries to do her thing of like getting him calmed down and everything. Obviously, it doesn't work. So, what does she do? You know, starts getting beat up. almost dies. Matt comes in, saves the day, of course. Love it, Big Double D coming in, saving the day, you know, doing the job. But then out of nowhere, he comes in strapped as hell. She got the 9 on her, bro. She's ready to go. And then she whips that hoe out, in, distress in self defense, shoots Muse, ends up killing him. Pretty cool. And then also kind of solid that, he was, kind of in a way his last artwork because, he was like, he died like on his canvas pretty much. So that was cool. And and then I also think, season 2, 3, maybe there's a possibility that we are gonna see the niece of White Tiger. Don't remember her name. We're gonna see the niece of White Tiger, repping the set with the mask and the amulet, if you know what I mean. White Tiger ended up on the streets as little Miss White Tiger. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's that. I think that's a possibility that could happen. The Fisk family here, okay? Let's talk about really quick here Vanessa Fisk. All right, this girl wilding out here. We got Fisk. We got the Fisk going through therapy, their own therapy with Heather, which is kind of crazy. They, it's like small world, but they're going through therapy. They're going through their own thing of trying to like get back into the groove of Kingston ended up and shit, which they kind of do towards the end of the show. But as of this point, they're doing their therapy thing, and it's like it's kind of weird seeing Wilson Fisk in therapy because it's like dude should just be up there cracking skulls, bro. Like honestly, dude, just go out there and start cracking skulls, kingpin it up. Okay? This new guy stuff's obviously not working for your girl, and you love this girl so much you will do anything for her, and she obviously wants you to be kingpin, so just start doing it. She's already got this other dude, Adam, pretty sure that was his name, and then, you know, you already have, and then Wilson ends up having the dude abducted anyway. So, and then, yeah. So it's like, that's crazy. But just like with Wilson Fisk and Vanessa Fisk, with all of them, it's like, it gets him abducted. At some point, he ends up telling Vanessa, hey, I got your man. Sorry about it. And then, oh my God, she's like, Wilson, I love you so much. Thank you for telling me, basically. And then goes, hey, Adam, bang, 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 you're dead, brother. Like, whoa, was not low key expecting that. And that was after Wilson Fisk already beat the bejeezy Weezies out of him like an episode ago. Because, like, Wilson was like, I'm just angry. I'm going to give this man a fighting chance to beat me up. So he gave him an axe and was like, I got my fist, you got the axe, let's duke it out. And, dude took like half a swing at him and then got beat to smithereens. But that's what we love about Kingpin. You know, he at least gave his opponent a weapon, knowingly the weapon would probably still not help. But he gave him a weapon. And that is what we call honor. Let's see here. Moving on from the Fisk family, Matt's interrogation with Bullseye being in prison, insane. Because, like, we get it, bro. Like, he killed Foggy, but I don't think you should have seen him, Matt. And obviously, when it comes down to it, he shouldn't have seen him. So, spoiler, I mean, okay, that's one thing too. Spoiler already. I mean, we're like halfway, I'm like already through the whole season basically. But, like, spoiler alert. You know, Matt goes and interrogates Bullseye, beats the crap out of him a little bit, a little bit deservingly though. I'd say beats the crap out of him. In doing so, he dislodges a tooth from his mouth. And then Bullseye later that day ends up escaping by using his said tooth to then chew that shit out of his mouth into someone's eyeball, the CEO at the, you know, prison that he's at, kills him, and then kills the other guy, the other CO, uses one of the CO's IDs and suit to escape and gets out scot free. Then what does he do after that? He's like, fuck these people. He's going sniper, whatever the fuck ready, goes to this ball gala that Matt, Wilson, and Vanessa are at, goes and tries to shoot Wilson Fisk. And what does Matt do after what was the bar that was said? The line that was said? Real heroes defend their enemies? Something along that line. What did Matt do being the real hero? Heard the gun getting cocked, knew what was happening, was ready for it. Bada bing, bada boom, baby. Hook the bullet for Fisk. Hook the bullet for Fisk. Awesome sauce, baby. That was sick as fuck. And then what happens? Gets shot, goes to the hospital. Meh, 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 meh. Bullseye escapes. They don't know what's going on. Lots of craziness. Lots of craziness. But that happens, right? And then it gets down to, you know, Frank ending up again having to help um Matt because Matt is getting hunted down now by Fisk. Because Fisk is now on his thing of like, we don't need vigilantes at all. And since, Matt's just sitting there healing, what if he succumbed to his wounds? Then boom, that's one vigilante not on the scene that we don't gotta worry about no more. And so far has been one of the biggest threats in our midst. And so what does Fist does? Sends his new British boy out there, go kill him. Matt's too good for him though. Escapes like a G, using that superhuman of his. Okay, does all that. Is good. And then what happens? Goes back to his house. Who's there? Frankie boy. Frank Castle. The big man, the big kahuna, you know what I mean? Big man shows up. He's ready to help out. He's like, all right, man, I know some shit's going on. Let's do it. So what does Matt do? Suits up. What does Frank do? Suits up. Who ends up coming for him? The task force. The vigilante task force starts coming for him. And what do? They whoop fucking ass. They whoop some ass. But what's happening? The task force? One of them in the task force, they got the Punisher thing going on. They're one of those guys. But those guys are so deep in Fist pockets that, after they start beating them up, whatever, at some point, Matt and Frank get separated, and then Frank gets captured. Ooh. Frank gets captured by the task force, beat up a little bit after calling them a bunch of pussies and a bunch of bitches, basically, and gets captured by Kingpin. And then, at the end of the show, he's sitting back, chillaxing in a cage, talking up with one of the guards there, with all the other vigilantes that have been walking around, chucking it up around New York, which is kind of crazy considering, like in New York City, in Daredevil Born Again is set in the MCU now, with No Way Home and all that. So it's like you're getting rid of the vigilantes, but you also got like the Avengers and whatnot out there doing their thing. So like I guess you're not really doing much Fisk, but saving New York, you could say. But it is what it is. Let's see here. Karen then being written back into the show. Didn't think that was gonna happen. Again, didn't really like Karen. Or I mean, I thought there was a chance she would come back. I didn't really know why she would, but I guess Matt getting shot, good enough reason. Because there's a point where Matt is also raising her up pretty well. When he's all, heard your heart rate. Uh, when you showed up and you saw me, it was pretty high. but I know it was just the adrenaline and all that. So, and she was like, yeah, adrenaline. Even though I know panties was ready to drop, pussy was wet. But again, that's just me putting down your opinions in the comments. But yeah, Matt risen up, Frank getting captured, Kingpin being a crazy boy and going, you know what? This man tried to kill me. We're going after it all. We're going hardball now. Get rid of the vigilantes, as we saw. Frank was captured with a bunch of vigilantes. I think I saw Luke Cage in there, which would have been kind of cool to be like, oh, he's coming back. I kind of was like hoping we might see an Iron Fist, maybe not. I don't know. Would have been kind of cool, but nah, didn't see him. But killing the commissioner, just squeezing his head, and then his jaw just like that was crazy, crazy sauce. Like, I get it. Like, you gotta show them like we mean business now. We back to doing the kingpin thing under the title of mayor. But hey, that's the kingpin way, my boy. Um, but yeah, I mean, besides that, all I can say now for Daredevil is that I would have to rate the overall. Oh, wait, no, I'm missing one thing. Before we do a final rating of Daredevil, my I'm not gonna say no, I'm not even gonna put a favorite episode on any of this. But an episode I liked a lot was the bank episode that I'm completely leaving out. Because one, beginning of that episode, we have the meeting of Matthew Murdock and Kamala Khan's father. And so, again, with what I was saying with it being established in the MCU, we have another thing also, again, establishing it in the MCU because Kamala's dad could not stop talking about Kamala. Which, for a fact, I love because I love Kamala Khan's character. He is the embodiment of me and everyone else, I believe, that's a superhero fan that wants to be in the superhero world as a hero. You're the kid that's always wanted to be a hero, and then you get that moment, that chance where it finally happens, and that's Kamala. And she embraces it. And then, in her move in the Marvels movie, uh, we see her fangirling the whole time over Miss Marvel, and I would be totally the same way if I was with like the Flash, Batman, Green Lantern, Iron Man, Cap. Like I would so be doing the same thing, so I understand it, and which is why I love her. But yeah, that episode with Kamala's dad and everything, but we got to see so much of that super hearing that Matt's got. Because that's the one thing I really loved about this season was the showing off of his super hearing and how good he was. Like in the first episode when he was honing in on Foggy, it's like you could really tell when he was like fading out the room and really and honing in and the camera would go zoom in on Foggy and just get that frame of him talking on the phone. It's like that kind of stuff. Just the bank, the lock picking the vault, and like showing Kamala's dad that he's like this crazy blind guy who can lock pick vaults. And I was like, Daredevil, the lock picker, Daredevil, the safe cracker. Crazy stuff, my guys, crazy stuff. But that's probably one of my favorite things about this whole season is, they're really showing off his powers good. And then also, besides powers, the suit. Astonishing. Astonishing. I've also seen some things about season 2, 3, maybe, where there's the potential double D's. Big double D's on the chest for our boy Matthew Murdock. Which I'm also, again, very excited about because we get them double D's. We get them double D's on that suit, boy. I'm gonna be very happy. I'm gonna be very excited. I'm probably gonna have a boner every episode watching them double D's on his chest. Just saying. Um, but yeah, love this show. Can't wait for season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, maybe 10, maybe not 10. Hopefully we can go that long. Probably not though. Probably get a couple more seasons though. Let's get it. But if I were to rate this season overall, I'm probably gonna give this season a 9 out of 10. Very high for a show. I think I also gave like Invincible a 9 or a 10. So, and Invincible ended up becoming my favorite show, like of all time, practically. But for this, 9 out of 10 for season one. I think just from start to finish, even though it's like, yeah, the lawyer stuff, like for Jeremiah was saying, like the lawyer stuff can get a little boring at times. But overall, it's great. It's a great show. And just there wasn't like crazy amounts of action, but there was a good amount of action throughout the beginning, middle to end. So I think, great job. Really to make it a 10 out of 10 for me, put a double D's on the chest. Double D's, and you got a 10 out of 10 for me, baby. But that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys again for sitting here with me watching the Super Sanctum podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, great night, wherever you're listening, wherever you're at. Thank you so much for watching, listening, subscribing, viewing. See you guys next time. Peace.